So for anybody that didn't get it, that's a reference to Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's a jump scare horror game. And the lore doesn't really scare me. I read about dead kids all the time, but for some reason, the purple guy actually scares me. So this is inspired by something that genuinely terrifies me. It's titled Purple Guy. The man was all in purple, a purple shirt with purple pants and plain black shoes. He gave her a ring and said he would show her something cool, a special secret for a special little girl. He was nice. He held her hand and talked to her. The candy was sweet and tasted like a rainbow in her small mouth, savoring every flavor and smiling, pink cheeks and bright little eyes. She was fine. It was all fine until he closed the door. Then it was dark. She got scared, but when he said to wait a little, that he would turn on the lights, still holding her hand, he said to her, "We're friends, and I'm scared too. I don't want to be by myself." So she waited while he turned on the light, and her bright little eyes clouded with fear beyond her years. She didn't want to be scared, but she was so very scared. When the lights turned on, a door was open, and she could see somebody in the room. "Who's that?" The man turned and smiled. "He's a friend of mine, so don't be sad, because he wants to play with you too." He still wouldn't let go of her hand, and the little boy didn't move. "Is he sleeping?" "Yes, he got tired. Let's let him sleep for a little bit." There was a lot of red everywhere, and he was very, very still. She puckered her lips and worried. "I want to go home," she pleaded quietly. "Okay, we'll go home in a minute." She cried a lot after that. He gagged her, and she couldn't scream, but she tried. She screamed for Mommy, she screamed for her daddy, and even her mean older brother that picked on her way too much. For someone to save her, and it was all terrifying. The man in the purple shirt and the purple pants became so scared. He heard her, he touched her, he told her to be a good girl and be quiet, that it would all be over soon and they would go back. And she tried to wait until it was finally all over. The boy still didn't move. He was quiet the entire time, and when she saw her own blood under her, she knew that she would soon fall asleep too, just like the little boy in the other room that did not move. And she wouldn't move either. She wouldn't wake up, just like he didn't wake up, cold and gray and gone. She wasn't sure when it happened, when she died. It took too long and it hurt a lot, and she was afraid until the very end. She cried for Mommy, for Daddy, for anyone, just anyone to come and save her, but nobody came. And then it started to rain. The man was sweaty. His purple shirt and purple pants were dirty with blood and other things. He smiled, and when she was gone, she didn't go anywhere. There was nowhere to go. He picked up her limp little body and put her in a big box with the also gone little boy. The once pretty girl with the rosy cheeks and bright little eyes waited for something to happen, anything to happen. She didn't want to look at herself, at her once pretty body. It was all still too scary. The pain was gone, but the fear remained, more agonizing than she ever could have thought possible. She was alone in a dark, cold box with the rain and the thunder and the complete, absolute silence. She watched as her body got cold. She reached out to touch it, but she couldn't. She couldn't smell anything, but she knew she didn't smell good. He didn't smell good either. Her eyes were open, but she couldn't close them, and they frightened her as she stared at herself staring back, lifeless and gone. When the bugs came to eat her, she tried to brush them off, but she couldn't touch those either. And in her deadness, in her ghost that was less shadow and more a fading state, lost somewhere between life, death, and limbo, she felt fear. A fear that was more dead than terror, more dread than terror, and if she'd been alive, she would have been safe. But she wasn't, and she didn't. All she could do in her spectral state of non-existence was watch her body get eaten and rot. Then she sensed him again. She knew he was coming, the man with the purple shirt and the purple pants. And when she saw him with her lifeless, crystalline gaze that wasn't really there, she saw a little boy that might have been a little girl that looked like her, like she did, before she was nothing more than a heap of putrefying meat. And as she vanished, she heard him say, "Let's be friends."
Bring your usual seats here.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.